no doubt about it. The art is inhibited by the lack of funding, which represents really the lack of support by the community. We are terribly unadvanced, really behind the cultures of many other countries. And of course it hurts the experiments. Of course it prevents it. You know, in New York, an actor has to be a waiter in order to make a livelihood. A poet is more advanced and can teach in the colleges in order to live. But we can't live by our art. And in a case like Jack Smith's, it's particularly tragic because it made it impossible for him really to work, because he should have been funded with enough possibility to create film after film and to have the equipment and the material and the staff and the actors that he wants. But we don't have such a structure, and it's to our shame. Call me Pollyanna. I think everything has its good result. I think that because we don't have funding, we find other ways to make art. We become more subversive. We fall between the cracks. We crawl underneath. We slip out from under the carpet. We find ways to do it, because ultimately, even with the economic pressures, ultimately art won't be suppressed. I think it's a race. I think it's a race between capitalism and survival, because the goals of capitalism are such that if it doesn't make money, it can't exist. And that includes art, and ultimately that includes people. Ultimately it includes whole populations. Ultimately it includes whole regions. We have to get rid of capitalism if we're ever going to take the next step in human development. I think the artists will find a way to crush capitalism before capitalism finds a way to crush the arts, because I think the artists will survive. And one of the ways that we will survive is by getting smaller. And there again, Jack Smith was exemplary in showing us how to make movies without a studio, without vast backing, without the whole legal and commercial hideousness of what it takes to make a film. Jack Smith said, I need enough money to buy a camera and I'll put together a few lights, and could do it. And I think that the artists are going to find a way to make art smaller, better, sharper. Art's going to be more like a needle than the hammer blows of Broadway, you know, which are big and loud, but and glittering, but which can't really pierce into the heart of the social structure the way real art has to do.